In the Eldame Empire, another ball is held, at which the princess enchants all the men present at the festival with her beauty. The emperor's sister is really insanely beautiful. Her facial features are unique. Everyone pays attention to this. The princess, Kayna Hill, barely has time to brush off the people who invite her to dance. The ball is held in honor of the girl's coming of age, and her brother, Emperor Rezef Hill, congratulates Kayna on this beautiful holiday. Duke Raffaello Kidri, adored by the girl, just watches her from a dark corner of the hall, does not come too close. Kayna is the most beautiful girl in the entire empire. The emperor wishes her to keep this title and always remain as beautiful. After all, he knows well that the beauty of his sister, in fact, cannot give her a drop of power. She is completely subordinate to him. Kayna tries to complain to her brother about a girl who, in her opinion, is trying to brazenly steal Duke Sidre from her. Because of this impudent girl, the Duke began to treat Kayna coldly. The princess does not like it. She wants the emperor to kill the girl. She does not even suspect that her brother is actually against her. After Kane's request, he begins to laugh at his sister. Rezef calls his sister stupid. The girl is not aware of the whole situation. Her brother's behavior seems unreasonably strange to her. The emperor approaches his sister and tells her that she will not be able to kill Olivia, a girl that Duke Raffaello likes. And if Kayna continues to pursue her, then Rezef will have to get rid of his sister with his own hands. Tears come to the girl's eyes. She does not understand why her brother does not take her side, because it was she who made him emperor. Rezef honestly admits that he just used Kayna all this time. For him, the girl was just a pathetic doll. She must finally realize that all the power she had before now belongs only to Rezef. All of the above actually happens only within the framework of the novel, in which Kayna is an extraordinarily beautiful but stupid character. All the other characters in the course of the novel change for the better under the beneficial influence of the main character, Olivia. Kayna, due to jealousy of the Duke, felt nothing but hatred for the main character. The girl's brother used her feelings for his own benefit. The princess tried to poison Olivia, and Rezef, who was in love with Olivia, used the girl's poisoning as an excuse to expel his sister from the castle. Rezef betrayed the girl and sold her to the cruel Viscount Killian. He doomed Kayna to a cruel, sad death. All of the above are the events of the novel, which the main character read to make sure of her similarity to the main villain of the story, Kayna Hill. She is connected with the heroine by the fact that they were both completely used by someone as puppets. Their power was taken away from them. The girl was helped in promoting her career, and now they demand complete obedience from her, which she strongly dislikes. She does not want to be someone's puppet. With these thoughts in mind, she lived her life peacefully, until one day a strange man approached her on the street. He kept blaming the girl for some of his troubles. She could not understand who he was and what he wanted, until the man took out a knife. The blade flashed brightly in the moonlight. The man rushed at the girl, shouting insults at her. He brutally stabbed the girl. She could not stay on her feet and fell to the ground, having managed to see the face of the attacker beforehand. It was her former colleague, a man who had problems with the law. His projects were handed over to a girl. He hated her for it. In his eyes, she has become a villain, and for all villains, the end is the same. But the girl believes that death is not so bad. She closes her eyes. When she opens them again, strange people crowd around her. They call the girl a princess and ask the servants to report her condition to the prince. The main character examines her hands and realizes that they cannot belong to her because she is definitely dead. Realization gradually comes to the girl when she hears Rezef addressing her by name. The man gently takes his weakened sister by the hand, politely brings it to his lips. Rezef feigns interest in his sister's state of health, asks if she is okay. Kayna is silent in response to his words. The girl tightly purses her lips. She remembers exactly how Rezef behaved earlier. The man told the girl, without a drop of shame, how he had used her for many years, how he was going to use her again, and how insignificant she was in comparison with him. The girl finally realizes that she has fallen into someone else's body. She gets out of bed to make sure of it. Rezef is worried, asks Kayna to stay where she is because she is still weak and must stay in bed. However, the girl had already run to the mirror and managed to realize that she had hit the body of Kayna Hill, the main villain of the novel she had read the day before. This frightened her greatly, because rebirth meant that life in that reality was actually the second in the girl's biography. That is why she was so hooked on the character of Kaina when reading the novel. The girl recognized her first rebirth in the heroine. In the midst of such reflections, a maid enters the room. She hands the princess a basin of water and a towel and promises to present Kaina with her outfit soon. Cold water in the basin is intended to eliminate swelling that appeared after the poison. The mention of this greatly frightens Kaina. She begins to remember the last banquet she managed to attend before her health problems. At that holiday, the girl leaned on wine, but not for too long. After the first glasses, she began to cough up blood and fell unconscious. The reborn girl is frightened by these memories because they do not belong to her but to Kaina Hill. In addition to that evening, the girl does not manage to remember anything, which means that she, after death in reality, possessed the girl's body at the time of poisoning. The maid notices the princess's unhealthy complexion, offers to call a healer, but Kaina refuses, thanks the girl for her care and asks her to leave. The maid is surprised by Kaina's behavior, because the princess used to make scandals on occasion and without, and now she reacts so calmly to poison. Something has definitely changed. Kaina begins to be preened as soon as she begins to recover from the effects of poisoning. The girl laughs at this, but she understands that life in the name of beauty is the most important thing for any princess. A girl who grew up among people who constantly talk about her unimaginability and the power contained in her beauty will gradually begin to believe in it. However, the main character knows like no one else that beauty does not give either real strength or power. She laughs at the hopelessness of the situation in which the princess finds herself. The girl finds it hard to believe that Kaina's temper is so easy to change with compliments alone. Now she is a really weak doll, fixated only on beauty, but Kaina still has a chance to change everything because the main character was reborn in time. It was not too late. Father Emperor is still alive, which means that power now does not belong to Rezef in its entirety. He cannot influence the fate of Kaina. However, time is running out. After the death of his father, Rezef will be able to become emperor very quickly and will have the right to dispose of his sister as a thing. Until then, Kaina needs to get away from the marriage as far as possible, and this is not so easy to do. The only thing Kaina can do is get married, but for this, you still need to find a suitable candidate, a man who will be easy to manage. All that remains is to fall in love with the right candidate, but first the girl will have to deceive Rezef's eyes and ears in order to then calmly escape. The first step of the deception is a meeting with Rezef. He himself comes to his sister's room to visit the sick woman, and Kaina lets him inside without hesitation. As the prince enters the room, the girl tries to remember the character of the man from the novel, who is Kaina's younger half-brother. The man has a handsome, good-natured appearance, but at the same time has a truly heartless disposition. Throughout his childhood, he grew up without receiving a drop of love from the emperor, so the fact that, in the end, he became a tyrant is not at all surprising. Now Kaina sees him only as an immoral person who is capable of anything to achieve his goals, even to kill his father. In fact, Rezef is just an unhappy child who lacks love and affection. The man again asks about his sister's health. The girl replies that everything is fine with her and there is no need to worry about her. Such an answer from the princess makes Rezef shudder. Such an answer is completely uncharacteristic of the hysterical Kaina. The princess begins to put pressure on Rezef, asks why he came to her, leaving all his affairs, whether he did it of his own free will. She sees perfectly well how hypocritical Rezef treats her, but the man tries by all means to hide his disgust, replies that his sister should not think so badly of him. Rezef notices a change in his sister's behavior. The previous Kaina would probably have asked him 10 times about when the criminal will finally be caught. But not only the girl's behavior has changed, her speech and facial expression also seem unnatural to Rezef. He begins to worry. But soon the man decides that the girl's illness is to blame, and there is no need to fear for her, because in addition to the fact that Kaina is beautiful, she is an absolutely useless puppet. You only need to ingratiate yourself with her in order to use her for your own purposes in the future. Rezef promises his sister to catch the criminal who dared to poison her as soon as possible. But Kaina is no longer stupid. She will not fall for his tricks, because now the girl knows about her brother's evil plans. She pushes away Rezef, who had hugged her before, and, to the man's surprise, asks him not to look for the culprit. The man is amazed by this. He was sure that his sister was an evil and cruel person, that she would want to execute the criminal on her own. But the girl is adamant. Even Rezef's attempts to reason with shouts do not help the man achieve his goal. Cana is not afraid of the fact that she almost died. She does not want her brother to look for a criminal among people. After all, she knows for sure that the one who poured the poison on her was Rezef, which means that there is simply no other criminal. The man tries to understand the reasons for his sister's decision, decides that she is afraid of retribution from the criminal, and asks the girl not to worry about this. However, Cana's brother is wrong, and the girl decides to show it by asking Rezef a direct question. It seems to her that the man wanted to frame someone and execute an innocent person. A vassal of the Duchy of Kidre who is overly obsessed with the beauty of Cana would be ideal for this role. Rezef hoped that this would help reduce the influence of the Kidre family, which was an obstacle to his ascension to the throne, so he staged this whole spectacle. However, this plan is destined to turn to ashes, because the path of the poison bought on the black market cannot be traced, which means that Rezef has no evidence. But the prince claims that he has plenty of evidence, but Cana interrupts him again, reminding him that her maternal family, Hamel County, has connections on the black market. If this becomes known, the entire family will fall into disrepair, and Rezef will be suspected of falsifications, which will put him in a difficult position. In the Duchy of Kidre, they will never just watch their vassals being destroyed, they will start digging under the Hill family. And if the Duchy of Kidre disappears, ceases to support the family, Cana will find herself in a very difficult situation, and the girl does not need unnecessary problems on her head. She sincerely asks her brother not to destroy the duchy with his rash decisions, but to make it his support. Such wise words of Cana amaze the prince, the feeling that a very adult person is standing in front of him, scolding a child for a bad joke. Cana decides to take advantage of his confusion and bring up the topic of accepting the princess's new maids into the palace. The girl wants to take the daughter of a trustworthy family as a maid. She proposes the candidacy of Lady Olivia Grace. Olivia is personally supported by the Duchy of Kidre, the girl's family is going to be made vassals of the duchy, and she herself is going to be married off to the heir. Previously, any support for Olivia was perceived by Cana with hostility, so her sister's behavior baffles Rezef. In the original novel, Rezef is in love with Olivia, tries to get her but breaks down and kills her when the girl goes over to Raffaello's side. Now the idea of Olivia approaching the castle pleases Rezef, but he is not sure that inviting the girl as a maid will not be a problem. In addition, her sister's unprecedented zeal for inviting Olivia was clearly not a sign of something good. Cana was definitely up to something. The girl probably has a plan. Rezef decides to ask her about it, but the girl is silent. The man begins to think that this lady is not his sister at all. Suspicions are further heightened when Cain gets out of bed and approaches his brother to kiss the back of the future emperor's hand. Rezef is very frightened and embarrassed by his sister's actions. A slight blush appears on his cheeks. The man tries to push his sister away from him, to bring the girl to her senses, but she does not listen to him. Cana clings to her brother's arms again and says that she only has Rezef, no one else, and this is true. From childhood, Cana repeated to her brother the words that he was her only family, that he was dear to the girl. The same words, uttered by another, changed Cana, infuriate Rezef. The man hits his sister on the hands and shouts for her to stop. The girl shudders from the blow. For himself, Rezef decides that his sister has simply gone mad, possibly due to the shock of the poison. But still, Cana's thoughts and behavior seem correct. She is definitely in her right mind. Rezef decides to ask directly what her sister is up to. The girl begins to ask her brother questions in return. She asks if he considers her his sister, whether he trusts her. Rezef is amazed by such words. He cannot answer anything, and Cana continues to put pressure on him, asking what his brother will do when she ceases to be useful to him. The girl knows that a great way to get rid of her would be to sell her wife to a man who can benefit Rezef. But if she is sold to Killian again, the girl will meet her end while in captivity and enduring all kinds of abuse. Cana is well aware of her position, but she knows that her brother needs her. Without her, he will not be able to achieve the throne. Rezef listens to his sister's speech, and when she finishes, he asks what Cana wants in return for cooperation. The princess looks at him enthusiastically. She wants to have the right to do whatever she wants, the opportunity to be her own mistress. The girl wants freedom. Rezef laughs at the girl's desire. He does not believe that she is able to give up the pleasure that wealth and fame give. But a girl needs freedom only to marry a good man whom she chooses herself. Rezef perceives this as another attempt by Kayna to charm Raffaello, but the princess denies this. However, Rezef doesn't really care. He wonders who Kayna could have chosen besides Raffaello. Thoughts of marriage make Kayna sick. Her body begins to hurt, but she must not lose consciousness now. She decides not to answer her brother's question. Instead, Kayna begins to promise her brother help in the struggle for the throne. She knows that Rezef will inherit the imperial throne even without her power. However, he will have to share power with other clans, such as the Evans clan, which has taken over the strategic branch of government. For the sake of her brother, the girl promises to take over the work of the Evans family, which indescribably pleases Rezef. Kayna swears loyalty to her brother. But she is well aware that her brother will most likely not believe everything she says. The girl has to stoop to beliefs and vows. She tries to start persuasion right now, but suddenly loses consciousness. Rezef picks up his sister in his arms. The girl's whole body is literally on fire. The consequences of the poison combined with the experience